General Manager for the Baltics, for the Wolt, Liis Ristal. Please, there she is.
Hey everybody, really happy to be here, sharing this stage with such talented people. I was also told that if my presentation sucks, it's okay, because all the previous ones were really good and you will not ask your money back. So I have no stress whatsoever. But today I'm talking about Wolt, but also a little bit about food tech, because the organizers asked me to talk about money. Money is sexy and hot, and it gets women into technology. Voila. But it all actually started for me 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was sitting in a beautiful corner office overlooking the city center, and I was running an ad tech company's global marketing department. And then Wolt came and proposed me a challenge. Do you think you can make food delivery work in the Baltics? And I was like, what? Pizza delivery and me? I mean, greasy pizza is not what I do. Maybe when I'm hangovered, but I'm not hangovered that much. But I do like good food. I do value my time. I think time spent on grocery shopping and cooking is way too high. Actually, statistically speaking, in the Baltics, on average, a female is spending 2 hours every day on preparing food and buying groceries. That's way too long. You can get a really decent makeup done with that time. Yeah, I'm wearing makeup. They did it backstage. So I thought about it a little bit, and I thought that if I would be able to turn food delivery into a lifestyle and create value for hundreds of restaurants by giving them an extra revenue stream, and provide livelihood for thousands of couriers, and make a couple of tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands people happy in the Baltics by giving them time back every day, that's something I would like to do. And I really believe in the fact, and I believed it also 2 years ago, that I'm not the only one who doesn't want to cook every day. I'm not the only one who values the time. And apparently, I'm not the only one who believes in that. Money believes in that as well. In 2018 alone, food tech received over 42 billion euros investments. Just last year. And this is officially reported numbers. I have a hunch that the number is actually double, maybe even a little bit higher. And if we look into the numbers, then where is the money actually going? Since 2013, and that's just about 5 years ago, the investments into food tech has been astonishing. 163 billion yearly. It has produced us 35 unicorns. It's quite a lot. If it would be only a greasy pizza delivery, it doesn't really make sense. And the investments are keeping growing year after year after year. The heat is not cooling down yet. So why is it that? We in Europe are also saving a little bit of this money. About 50% of the investments in Europe are coming to the global food delivery providers, the big five, we say. Wolt is not one of them, just as a comment, but we are getting there. So the question is, why are all these smart people and investment bankers and investors, they are really smart, why are they putting their money into the food tech? Because the main question is actually simple. It's no longer a food delivery. It is actually a food tech. And the main differences between these two, I've listed them here, but the main thing is the instant on-demand ordering. You don't have to call someone who gets you a driver who brings you the food. You can go directly to the platform and make the order there. There's no one in between. There's no delays. There's nothing. You just order, you get an instant feedback if the restaurant wants to prepare the food or not. It didn't used to be like that. The second thing that is built into all the food tech companies is the instant payment as well. Just imagine when you order food, or anything, and then the product arrives to you, and then they ask you to pay for it, and you don't have exact money. And most probably the driver doesn't also have the change. And then you hassle there with the money and finding the correct sum and all that. It's tedious. It's really, really tedious. You don't want to do that. You want to get it done as quickly as possible, because convenience matters. One other thing that is built into the food tech is real-time tracking. You can track everything. You can track if the restaurant saw your order. You can track how far along is your order. You can actually see how the courier is moving on the map, or if he's circling around your house or not. So you can actually track where your food is. And food is a really, really, really emotional thing. You don't want someone to mess up with your food. And fourth really, really cool thing about food tech is the personalization. I thought a long time, should I write AI here? But AI is in the process, and we are doing it bit by bit. But it's not there where it's supposed to be. But however, personalized content is. Back in the day, when you were going on a website or even a food delivery app, you saw one content. Mostly the content was advertising content, offering you some discounts, but not anymore. When you open Wolt app, then you see the restaurants that first of all can deliver only to you. And you can see also restaurants that you most likely want to order, because we know where you are usually ordering. So if you see there a lot of salads, then you are a salad person. If you see there something else, then you are something else. The data don't lie. And we personalize as much content as possible. But this is just the beginning. Where the food tech is moving with the AI and the personalized content is where Spotify is today. So at one point in really near future, you will be also able to follow what your friends are eating. Where is the city ordering? What are the overall trends? So you can really use the app to discover food and good places, and also see what other people are thinking about the restaurants you are thinking of ordering. So this has taken a huge leap forward over the last couple of years. And this is how it looks in action. This is the customer application. In the middle is the restaurant application. And on the right is the courier application. So how it looks like is that you place an order in your app. Then the order automatically, within milliseconds, goes to the restaurant. And then the restaurant can choose if they want to prepare the order or not. If they are super busy or out of ingredients, they usually don't. Luckily, 95% of the times they do. It is a business. Then they accept the order. They can also choose if it takes them 20 minutes, 25 minutes, an hour to prepare the food. Again, depending what's happening in their kitchen right now. We do propose them a time frame when the courier can come and pick it up in the first possible time, but they don't have to accept that. They can delay it. And then we also give the feedback to the customer that the production time will be a little bit longer. And once the food is about to get ready, our courier partner gets a notification. Go there, pick up the food. And it's easy as that. And within all this process, you don't need anyone from Wolt, because this is a technology that does all the heavy lifting for us. Because we are also lazy. So this is how it looks in action. But what does it give us business-wise? And why is the money coming in? And why the investors are so interested in food technology these days? Because nobody in Wolt, in a perfect scenario, is involved with the ordering process. And this means scaling. And this means automation. And we can automate all the main things that make the customer experience and the business good. Price, for example. In Riga, the minimum delivery fee is 1.9 euros. And if you're ordering from the restaurants that are close by to you, within 1 kilometer radius, this is the delivery fee for you. It's quite cheap. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee. The second thing is the product itself. I already said we can personalize everything. We can also capture the data, and we can later interact with you based on the data that we have gathered. So the overall experience gets better and better over time the more you use Wolt. Service. If you can automate everything, like the process I showed you before, and you don't need anyone in between, you don't need someone sending an SMS somewhere, somebody calling somewhere, and all these tedious little steps, you can offer a really fast service. Last week, the average delivery time, together with food preparation time in Riga, was 38 minutes. We are working on making it faster. We want to get it down to 25 minutes together with food preparation. So we are working really, really hard, and so does everyone in the team, to make sure that the restaurants can be faster, our courier can be more efficient, and we can give you the food quicker to you. Because we know that when you are hungry, you get angry. So we want to avoid that. Also, what technology gives us is that the product itself is very, very, very accessible. The minimum order you can place is only €8, and then plus the delivery fee makes that it's €9.90 to make an order. And this is what we are aiming for. Because I don't want Wolt to be a super exclusive place that is only for rich and beautiful. No. Everyone should have the human right to use Wolt if they don't want to cook. And you are laughing, but we had a request the other day from Finland when one customer proposed to the city government that because he lives outside from the delivery area, the government should subsidize his deliveries. Because he has a human right to do that. It's real. The other day, a journalist wrote me from one news portal and asked, what happened? Your delivery was closed last night. I was like, holy shit. I checked the data. Yeah, we were closed for 28 minutes because we didn't have enough couriers and we had to close down the service, otherwise the service quality would go bad. But she was demanding, what happened? I felt like, wow, it's like electricity and the internet, I get it, but not being able to order from Wolt sounded like a human right already. And they made an article out of it. So accessibility is something we really, really, really work. The technology also allows us to bring in people in relatively good terms and make everybody happy within it. Currently today in the Baltics, we have around 2,200 courier partners working for us on our platform and making livelihood. And thanks to the technology and thanks to the platform, we are able to provide them really nice and flexible income and also allow them to be happy and part of Wolt. And last but not least, what the technology gives us is productivity. To run a food tech company, the cost, like the fixed cost, monthly cost, are flat, regardless if we cater 100 orders or 500,000 orders. Because the technology does all the heavy lifting. We just are dealing with day-to-day little accidents. So that's the power of food technology. And that's why really smart people are also investing into that. And they are smart to do that because just organically itself, food delivery as a category in Europe is increasing 50% year on year. And that's organically, without you doing anything, without marketing or anything. But what happens next? Business is growing, people are happy, but because we have all this money, we can also invest into it. I'm expecting the industry itself to grow a lot in the next decade or so. Because if you look at the food and drink consumption in Europe, and in Europe alone, then food delivery as such is only 2% or even a bit less of this €2 trillion business. It's just getting started. So looking back 2 years ago when I thought there might be more than just me in the Baltics who want the service, I'm happy to say that's the fact. But we have still so much to go. Most of the trends these days that impact the technology are coming from Asia. And the picture in Asia is way different compared to the Europe. In food tech sense, we are the good old Europe, very traditional and conservative. Looking at South Korea, for example, and an average person orders food in at least 10 times a year. That's nearly once a month. And that's the full population, from birth to death. What is also a trend emerging from Asia is that apartments are getting smaller and smaller, kitchens are getting smaller and smaller, kitchen applications are getting smaller and smaller. So people are cooking less and less. The new apartment houses built don't even have kitchens anymore inside the apartments because people don't need it. They don't have time and need for it. We are really conservative compared to the Asians. And if I'm looking at the food trends in the Baltics, what are people actually ordering? Top 3 dishes are coming from Asia. Because Asian food can be nicely transported, it's easy to pack, and sort of the delivery bit is already in the DNA of the most popular Asian dishes. So there will be more money in that industry. I like that. What else is trending? These are some of the examples from Riga, Ramen Riga and Burger Chef. They are called ghost restaurants or shadow kitchens. There's different synonyms for them. But basically what it means that you don't have to have a walk-in restaurant to be part of food tech. All you need is kitchen and good food. That's it. Ramen Riga right now also has a working walk-in restaurant, but when they started, they didn't have that. So their only point of sale was Wolt. Burger Chef doesn't have a walk-in restaurant up to today. And if you would order them via Wolt, you would never know. Because on the platform that we provide them, everything works the same for you. But looking from the restaurant perspective, you don't need to do investment into expensive center location restaurant. You don't have to have a walk-in area at all. You can pretty much operate from a little cellar. You don't need the waiting staff. You don't need to invest into cutlery, plates, and everything that breaks monthly in a really, really quick rate. So that really transforms the way people think of food. They will be coming quite sure in the near future in all Baltic cities, little ghost restaurants run by local influencers who really, really want to do food and who have dreamed of running their own restaurant. And we give them that option. If you give them the option to order, if you give them the option and you order from them. And this is the trend merging more and more over in Europe and also in Asia. Another cool trend. A lot of people are talking about drone deliveries and robot deliveries, and I don't know if there's anyone from Starship here. I hope not, otherwise they will kill me. We tried it in Tallinn in 2016, November, robot delivery with Starship robots. In theory it works. You put the food in the robot and then you ship it somewhere. But the legal framework in Europe, at least, is not ready for robot delivery. In EU, a robot like that can't drive quicker than 6 kilometers per hour. I walk faster. You don't want a walker to bring your food. The second thing about these robots is that they're called robots, but in reality, usually there's a handler somewhere behind the screen helping the robot to navigate. And if there is an obstacle, your food will never arrive to you. So the service is not there yet, and it's really difficult to make robot delivery work in a small city with little density. Because in order for a robot to navigate on the streets, you first have to map the streets and teach the robot how to use them. And robot will never come to your door with a bag of food and saying, "La bon appetiti." Never gonna happen. So we are really happy to see a robot or drone or something that can do that for us. But as long as they are not as smart as our courier partners, we can't trust them. Last but not least, this is what I think happens. Cooking will become just a hobby, thanks to food tech. It just takes a little bit of time, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. But if we look back 100 years ago, then most of our ancestors made their own clothes. Some of them even grow the fabric to make their own clothes. Today, how many people do you know who has a sewing machine? If somebody will give you a piece of fabric, do you know what to do with it? You will walk around naked. And this is what's happening with making food as well. Because there will be more and more people like me who is willing to come from a fancy penthouse to a really badly ventilated cellar to take the challenge of making it happen. Because we value the time. We want to eat better and better, but we don't have the time to really learn how to cook better and better. And we think it would be okay to use other people who do things better than we do. Today, we buy our own clothes. We have construction workers coming to fix our apartments or homes. We don't repair our cars anymore. I don't, at least. So these kind of services or things that we are not really good at, we tend to buy them in. And it's okay, because we should not put our time into things that we are not the best at. If we can have the best ramen in town in 25 minutes. Thank you.